Hello, beautiful soul. I'm Vicki Howie of chakraboosters.com, the creator of Chakra Boosters Healing Tattoos. Welcome to your energy forecast for June 2020. It's a big month. We have a lunar eclipse, we have a solar eclipse, that's 2 eclipses in 1 month. We also have at one point for a couple days, we have 6 planets in retrograde. So the retrograde energies continue. And as usual, I'm going to give you 3 themes, a bunch of dates to look at, and I'm going to pull 2 goddess cards to inspire us for the month at the end of this reading. So stick around for that. So let's talk about the themes. Before I even begin on the 3 themes, I want to share kind of a meta theme. We've been working with this theme from April that kind of went into May as well, which is just as we deal with the events that are going on in the world today, we are being forced to finally learn to live in the now, just for the sheer unknowingness of what's coming up. And it's been a real spiritual blessing in that sense, in that rather than just talk about being in the now, we're all getting an experience in actually living in the not knowing and living in the now. But we're ready to graduate from that into something even higher, which is the meta theme for this month. I didn't even count it as the 3, it's just sort of a meta theme, which is to be living in the now as you're moving forward. For this one, my guide showed me that it's like we're walking across a river and we're stepping on rocks, and we stop at each rock and we're very clear about where we're going to go next, but we don't plan so far ahead that we know the whole path. And the rocks are magical. They keep moving and changing, and so we have to, when we get to each rock, we look around and see where are the rocks now. That's what life is inviting us to do right now. So I just wanted to put that out as a meta theme, to begin to understand that rather than being just hunkered down and making no plans, we can have vision and make flexible plans and just adjust. Like that ability to be both in the now and also to move toward the future with a certain vision. Okay, so that's kind of the overall meta theme. Our first actual theme is much stronger than the other 2. That's why I'm having it be number 1. It's continuing over from May in a certain sense, and that is Relationship University. We are in, the reason I called it university is because we are in this huge relationship healing, analysis, learning phase around our most intimate relationships. Venus, the planet of love, went retrograde May 13th and will stay retrograde until it goes direct on June 25th. That'll be one of the dates that I talk about. So it'll be retrograde most of this month, and we're continuing on from it being there half of last month. So it's inviting us to really, really look deeply at our relationships. And if you have a strong relationship, it may feel challenging to go through this period, but you'll come out even stronger. If your relationship is already weak, and let me give you an idea of what I mean mostly by weak. When I say strong, I mean even if you have different visions and you have differences of opinion, different preferences, even if you have all that, if you believe that you're on the same team and you treat each other with team attitude, like we're on the same team. That's like the mantra here. We're on the same team. As long as you're on the same team, even if you have a whole lot of differences, it's likely you're going to learn during this relationship university period how to navigate better so that both partners, both you and your partner's needs can be met, and that you can both feel heard and felt and seen and respected. This period is going to give you a lot of opportunities to make your bond stronger. It might happen through challenge, but it will give you a lot of opportunities to do that. On the other hand, if your relationship is at a point, or perhaps has been at a point, where there's more of a feeling of you're against each other, you're not on the same team, like you're competing, or you don't have each other's back, this may be the month that breaks the camel's back, so to speak. And if so, while of course we have to grieve anything we lose, I hope that you understand that relationships that break down during this period are ones that more or less are supposed to go. If they don't make it through this period of like trial by fire, then really it's about clearing the space for a healthier relationship. So this is a time where, if you know the goddess Kali, she breaks things down. She gets rid of the extra. She gets rid of what's not working. That's kind of the energy that we have here around relationship. But most of it's going to be actually just forging by fire. So if you are committed, if you can stay on the same team, be respectful to yourself and your partner, then likely you're going to come through this much stronger than before. It's like you're going to have a university degree at the end. And since I call it university, I want to just let you know that it's almost like you're in college, and then the teacher's going to show you everything you've learned around relationships from the moment you were conceived. So you're going to go back and look at all your school years, right? You're not just in university to do the advanced stuff, although this will be challenging, so that's why it's university. But you're actually going to go back and review everything you've learned, your beliefs and habits around love, your ways of asking for what you need, your ways of showing up for your partner, your ways of how you can handle how intimate the situation gets or not. There's so many things in relationships, and you're going to be looking at all of them and going over it from this expansive viewpoint. So that's Relationship University. I hope you make the most of that. Our second theme is beginning old things anew. And I shouldn't even say things, it's like old learnings, passions, hobbies. I don't really know what to call them, but we're talking about the types of things that expand you. So it could be learning an instrument, could be learning a language, it could be doing a sport that you've done, it could be a craft. I mean, it really could be anything. If you're able to learn it, you can feel passionate about it, and you're able to progress in it, then this is going to be a time period where you may have put something down, you might have put it away, maybe an instrument is gathering dust in the closet, and you're going to be called to bring it back out. Now, this isn't for everything. This isn't for all past things. So if you don't get called to bring it out, then you don't. But just be aware that my guide showed me really clearly this month that it's going to be about revisiting things that we have passion or learning around, and then taking it to the next level. Now, you could go and have it be for an actual activity, hobby, learning, or craft, or you could have it be a teacher or mentor that is strong in your life, and maybe you were separated from this teacher or mentor and now they come back. That can also happen as well too. So I just want to give you all the different scenarios so you can recognize it if it comes, and you can make the most of it. It's going to be very expansive, and you're going to get a lot of depth in your soul from walking through this process. The third theme is that we're going to see the maturation, or we're going to have an opportunity to see, because we have to make choices, right? An opportunity to see the maturation of the masculine, moving from a more immature masculine to the true divine masculine. Now, this isn't just for men. This is for the women as well. This is for all of us on the planet. It's a time where the month itself is even going to begin with such hot kind of energies, and it's going to feel like you might want to lose your temper. And especially the first week, you're going to maybe find that you are not as patient, again, with your partner, because we're in Relationship University. And what I'm calling you to do here is to grow up the teenage boy within. That's the best image I can give. It's like the teenage boy within all of us that wants to put a, stay out a sign on our door, and wants to, just say something mean and walk away, and is thinking about what we want to do and our independence, and doesn't want to be collaborative or be a part of anything. That energy is very passionate energy, and on many levels it serves us, but we need to bring it to the awareness level and not let it run us. If it runs you and makes the decisions for you, you'll end up with the kinds of problems or situations that teenage boys have, right? What we're needing now on the planet and individually is to go from this impetuous impetuous, young, fiery, aggressive kind of energy, even if it's just once at work or at home saying something quick to someone because you haven't stopped to really take a breath. I mean, it could be many things, but it could be that small. But to look at that energy and to become aware of it in your being and to begin to transmute it, to alchemize it into a more mature energy. As if the father of this teen within you comes to the teen and says, here's a challenge for you. And now I'm visualizing, now my guides are showing me like tribes when they would have a teen boy go out and he can't come back until he brings back game that he's caught or something. He has to go out on this journey alone in the jungle. It's kind of like that. Like versus the teen getting everything handed, you're going to be there for the teen, but then put him out on his own and ask him to be patient and smart and to use his fire toward something like those hunting skills, toward something valuable. Now when I say his, these are both parts of you, so I hope you're with me on this visual, but that's what my guides showed me just now. And this is a really big rite of passage that doesn't even happen at all in our culture, really. I mean, maybe individual families allow the males in the family to be recognized in a certain way that feels ritualistic and allows them to step up into their manhood. Certainly you have a bar mitzvah in a Jewish family at 13, which is very close to the age. I'm talking about like 14, 15. But we don't really have it as a culture as a whole, so I'm asking you to feel into these two parts of yourself, the more mature masculine, the fatherly, grounded, responsible, the Capricorn type energy that's really needed in 2020 and is actually here quite a bit, to tap into that and to bring that energy to the youth, to the teen side, to the fiery, impulsive side, and to ask that other side to be in teamwork with the father type energy. So we're making this arc throughout the month, and at the end of the month we're going to see Mars, which is the warrior planet, go into its own sign, Aries, the fiery energy, and it's going to allow us to really move forward in integrity with this fire energy, with this it's going to allow us to integrate that fiery teen solar plexus energy so that it has a certain maturity. It's like the difference between a fire that a kid lights a fire because he just doesn't care and he's throwing matches, or the kid is lighting a stove to cook a meal, or is lighting a burner to alchemize something in science. Can you feel what I'm talking about there? We're going to learn to be more temperate, to go from a high temper to temperate. That's the transition. And it doesn't douse the fire, it doesn't kill the fire, it channels that fire. So that's the invitation in all of us, male and female, to shift our masculine energy at whatever's left in us that is very fiery and unaware of others and how that fire affects others, to then bring more social awareness and heart and service orientation to it, so that you might do the thing where you go out into the woods and you catch game for the tribe, right? You prove your manhood in doing that, and you use your smarts and your patience and your quiet, not your craziness, not the wild energy, but you channel that wild energy. Boy, that was a lot that came through there. I hope that was clear. That is the third theme that I see for the month. Let's look at the dates. The first date is June 2nd. It's a simple little date, but I wanted to point it out because on that day, Venus conjuncts the Sun. That means that the planet of love that is in retrograde, that is causing us to be in this relationship university, is going to have a big burst of clarity. As the Sun conjuncts Venus, there's going to be like light on the situation, the sun on the situation. 2020 is a year of getting clarity, and since at this point when that happens, it will be over 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks of Venus being in retrograde. The clarity you might have might be around patterns that you've had, not just for this lifetime, but past lifetimes. It could be these huge karmic patterns. So I invite you to journal or really take a close look at what's obvious to you about yourself. Don't point out at your partner, look at yourself. At that time on June 2nd, you're going to get a real big burst of clarity right on that day. June 5th, we have a full moon lunar eclipse. Wow, a full moon lunar eclipse. Now, full moons are about celebrations, finishes, and releases. Lunar eclipses are also about big releases and can be unexpected things as well. So we're getting this double whammy of energy. It's happening at 12:12 p.m. Pacific on the 5th. I like what's in numbers, and the code there is 1212. That is 3 and 3. And again, we're back to that solar energy. So on this particular day, you might feel a lot of bursts of that young fire type energy that I was talking about. And you're going to get some of your first invitations to like release it in a healthy way, to let go any habit, to turn directly to anger, directly to putting it at another, instead to how do I work with these energies to bring them out in creative ways. 3 is not only the solar plexus chakra, but in numerology, it's tied to the creative impulse. So if you can channel energy toward the creative on this date, it'll be great. It'll be a really good way to use that energy. But basically, celebrate in yourself the Sagittarian nature. I forgot to mention that. It's a Sagittarius full moon. So we're coming to a certain completion around Sagittarian energy. And I think this is interesting because we just went into the South Node Sagittarius May 5th. So that was a whole new beginning of, we're in the South Node of Sagittarius. We're moving toward, for the next 18 months, now 17 months are left, toward the North Node of Gemini. And in short, there's many ways you can describe it, interpret it, but the way I want to focus on it for you here is, in short, that's talking about a movement from beliefs that are unquestioned, because Sagittarius is run by Jupiter, a big expansive energy. It's not about thinking and logic, it's the larger expansive energy. So it's run sort of unquestioned by faith. What beliefs did you inherit in particular? Because those ones, of course, never got questioned. They just exist. And how can you move them toward more thinking, more clear use of media? Because we're moving toward a Gemini North Node now. So our movement is from less blind faith, more good use of information, and more choosing what we believe, what we think, what we see, what we want to have around us, good use of media and good use of our mind. Can you feel that? So this is kind of like a kickoff of that. It's like a kickoff. It just started officially. The nodes were introduced on the 5th of May, and here we are on the 5th of June going, okay, 1 month later, let's get going. And it's saying we've got this opportunity to release, so we can begin now to release. If you don't know the nodes are South Node's more of what we've karmically done a lot of. North Node is its opposite of what we're moving toward, and we're trying to find a balance between the two. That's our lesson over the next 17 months collectively, and I can already see it with the situation in the world with COVID, how that's going to apply even just coming out of this and all the different stories that we see in the media. So what you could use this time for is to really look at your beliefs. Which ones would you like to release? Look very closely at the ones you inherited that you've never questioned. If you're not ready to release them, at least use this time, June 5th, and the full moon and the lunar eclipse to question them, to really ask, begin to ponder, do I have substance behind this belief? Does it touch me intuitively? Does it make my life better, right? We can choose our beliefs because in a divine universe, everything is true because all things are there. All things are possible. Allness. God is allness. So it's worth looking at, see if it also works for you. So that's what I suggest for June 5th. Let's look at June 18th when we have Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrogrades can be challenging, especially if, like me, you're sort of an open-centered. I have 7 out of 9 open centers in human design. If you're an open-centered empath type, when the inner planets like Venus and Mercury go retrograde, you can really feel them. And for me, particularly for some reason, when Mercury goes retrograde, I can really, really feel it. And sometimes though I feel it, I don't pay attention, and I feel it after the fact, after I've already had a few fiascos in that very first day. And in February, the last time this happened, I actually had like 3 things happen before I really put it all together. Even though I had done the research, I knew the date. I was out traveling, which by the way is something you aren't supposed to do Mercury retrograde, and yet my guides often have me traveling during Mercury retrograde. So ground yourself, be aware of, like, be grounded, deal with the past and looking at technical things and business and communications, but don't move those things forward too much. Don't sign contracts unless you really intuitively feel it's something that's got to happen. In general, they say don't travel. For me, I travel a lot during Mercury retrograde, but you do need more patience for it because your travel does get moved around a lot of the time. So you need to be flexible if you're going to do that. It's different for each person depending on your own independent chart, but what you will tend to see is there can be a lot of communication and technical and business snafus. So if you can wait, just wait until it comes back out. That's usually, I didn't get the date of when it comes back out. That'll be in my next report. It's definitely going to be in here all of the rest of June, and it's usually 5 or 6 weeks. So just be really mindful. Mercury retrograde, okay? And remember, Mercury's all about communication. You're already experiencing at that time retrograde in Venus, Venus retrograde. So therefore, you might find that communications in relationship get really, really difficult, or you might want to take advantage of that double retrograde situation and really look at your patterns in communication, in relationship. Okay? All right, our next date is June 20th. I'm going to talk about the new moon, which means new beginnings. It also happens to be a solar eclipse. It also happens to be a solstice. It also happens to be in the sign of Cancer at 0 degrees, which is the brand new, it's the beginning of Cancer. So everything about it is telling you new, 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 new. So this is a fantastic, it might be the best new moon of the year to set intentions. If you have intentions that you already love and have in mind and heart, set those. If you're looking for intentions, I recommend looking to the Cancer energy. That is the energy of this new moon. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention, it's on the new moon. I like you to do a little ritual for the new moon intentions exactly when the new moon happens, and that is 11:41 p.m. on the 20th of June Pacific. So that's almost the 21st. So much of the world, it's going to be the 21st. Adjust for your time zone. And and just remember, that is not, I'm not saying that's the time of the eclipse. That's the time of the new moon, because that's what really interests me energetically. And the eclipse may shake things up too, so be aware of that. But all of it is about newness energy. So what is Cancer? Well, first, I just want to acknowledge that we finished our journey of balancing Capricorn and Cancer on May 5th. If you didn't see my May energy forecast, please go watch that, at least for the nodes, because there was such an interesting movement we made in the last few months around moving from the south node of Capricorn to the north node of Cancer, moving from work, 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 logic, masculine, into this more feminine, bringing our work home, being home more, being with family, being more compassionate, nurturing, collaborative, more of that motherly energy. Well, that's what it's about. So any intentions that you might have now to actually utilize what we've learned in being home so much and what we graduated from in our previous cycle on May 5th of our lunar nodes. So you get a chance now to actually, okay, I graduated from that. Now let me go out and see what intentions I can set about truly walking the talk around Cancer energy. How can I make my home better and more comfortable and more secure? How can I be with my emotions and my heart and my loved ones, and especially family? Can I do more domestic things, cooking or things around home that make me happy? These are all Cancer energies. Security, nurturing, home, family, friends, love. You feel that? Okay, so set your intention, and then remember 11:41 p.m. Pacific to light a candle or do some kind of ritual around that intention, because it's this deep, beautiful, fertile soil with this solar eclipse. Our next date is June 22. I want to mention here, it might be 23 in much of the world, that Neptune goes retrograde. Now, if you haven't been counting, this means, if you watched again my May energy report, there are a lot of big planets that are still retrograde from then. So at present, let me see if I can come up with all of them. We had Pluto that was first, then last month Saturn went in on the 11th, Venus went in on the 13th of May, Jupiter went in on the 14th, and then we had Mercury went retrograde, went in on the 18th, and then Neptune goes in on the 22nd/23rd. That's 6, count it, 6 planets retrograde. If there's ever been a time that's saying, get your ducks in order from what's already gone by, look back, learn, take stock. If there's ever been a time, this is that time. And Venus is just about to come out, so I'll talk about that. Neptune is the planet, though, that I want to mention, the planet of dreams, illusion. In the best case scenario, when it's grounded in the earth, when it's brought in with very earth-type energies, we end up with these dreams becoming reality. But this particular retrograde might bring in an energy of, like, literally my guides were showing me Oz when they pull back the curtain, and Oz is this little short little man with a mustache instead of, he's got this big voice, right? And everyone thinks he's this great god, but he's really just this little man with the mustache. And the little man tries to pull the curtain back. Well, Neptune is that illusionary, it's the big curtain. So on the 22nd, 23rd, there's going to be like this pulling back of the curtain, and I'm going to invite you not to turn the curtain back. Don't pull the curtain back. Leave it open and actually look. It's okay. If a dream is an illusion and it doesn't have a realistic way for you to advance it in this world, it's okay at this time to let go of it. You'll actually free up energy. You'll want to free that energy up. That's really what that retrograde is inviting you to do, to take a look at the realism of the dreams, because you can use the energy that you have towards something that actually, another dream that has more of a realistic bent to it, something you can actually do. Now, before you comment and, really get all upset that I'm putting down dreams, I'm not. I'm an upper chakra person. I'm a big dreamer. And in particular, I brought in Chakra Boosters healing tattoos to this planet. If anything is a big dream that's almost unrealistic, that would be it. But I could see how I could turn those into real products with real packaging and a website and send them to real people to wear them on their body for actual healing. I could see it had realism to it, and I was taking the steps. So if you can't see the realism in the vision and you can't take the steps, either one or both of those, it's time at that retrograde to be willing to let go and to look at somewhere else to put your focus. Okay, so I'm not putting down dreams, I'm just saying it's time to meet, to embrace the dreams that have a real chance of being shared with others, of serving humanity, of allowing you to get to be the birthing mother, even if you're a guy, the mother of those dreams actually coming into reality. On the 25th, as I've already mentioned, I believe I have, Venus goes direct. Yay! I just want to say a big yay. This has been an intense, I cannot recall a more intense period for relationship. So this is the time where you get to celebrate. Yes, this pressure on relationship really begins to let go. Now there's a shadow period that you'll still feel a little bit, but I want to point out that nevertheless, Mercury is now retrograde. So relationship communication could still be difficult. But here's the cool thing. Venus is in Gemini when it goes direct. Gemini is really ruled by Mercury, so it should all kind of level out so that you can come to a really nice place in your communications, and you'll feel like you don't have to keep working so hard to look at the patterns and to heal anything around relationships. So just celebrate where you're at in your relationship. And again, if you had a breakup this month, trust that. Trust it. Trust that it's like you can build something bigger on the property. That the relationship was the smaller house, that now it's older, it was falling apart, it needed to be bulldozed, and now you can build what you want. That's kind of the energy of this month. I would genuinely trust. You'll still want to grieve, you'll still want to mourn. We don't ever want to short circuit those natural phases that we need to go through, but you can have overall faith with it happening at this time. Finally, the very last date is the 27th of June. I want to point out, and I think I already did earlier, that Mars, the warrior planet, the warrior energy, the fiery energy, is going into Aries, the sign that it rules. Okay, so Mars is going into Aries. It's like now our divine masculine of the solar plexus is at home. Now this is why I want you doing the maturation of the divine masculine for the entire month, so that when this time hits on the 27th, there won't be just a teen there with a match and lighting everything. It won't be like just, I've got to take action, I've got to have fire, because when Mars meets Aries, that is a go kind of fiery energy. And you want to make sure there's a mature temperance to that, right? It's like you've turned it from temper to temperance, from temper to temperance, and now you can handle it. Because additionally, so many planets are still in retrograde that this energy is going to be best used creatively and retrospectively, looking back, healing things, fixing things, reorganizing things in the re-verbs, like RE, not reverb as in sound, but the RE verbs, the redoing, the reorganizing, the restructuring, the reviewing. All of that stuff is what you want to be putting that masculine energy toward. Like renovating, fixing up, for instance, with the Cancer energy we had on the 20th, fixing up the house, right? Fixing things that have been broken for a while. Just do that. Male or female, bring that energy in. So those are our dates. I think this is going to be a good month for a lot of growth. It feels very deep and soulful, but in a very embodied way. Really, I feel that. I feel like it's not just soul growth or thought changes, but a very embodied way. So let's check out what the goddess is. I have shuffled the cards. Hopefully I have my glasses here. I do. We're ready to go. So let's see who we get. All right. Whoa. Okay, here we go. This is for the first half of the month. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have Isis. Isis, the card says past life. I will put the card in here in the video. And the words on the card are, this situation involves your past life memories. Isis is a amazingly popular, just so popular Egyptian goddess. She was the mother to Horus, and she was the wife of Osiris. Horus is the sun god. And she raised her son alone because Osiris was killed by his brother. He was killed twice by his brother. He was killed once by his brother, I can't remember his brother's name right now, and who was jealous of him. And Isis brought her husband back to life. But then the second time, Osiris's brother chopped him up, so that Isis was not able to bring him back to life. It was just too complete, kill someone completely. That's the God's world. And so Osiris had to go to the underworld. He became the lord of the underworld. And to me, the underworld always has a feeling of going back in our memories too. It's like going deep into the past, deep memories, right? There's like this deep searching. They all remind me of like deep earth. So I feel like Isis is telling us, first of all, which is totally correct, we're going to look at not just past life memories like the card says, but I think past of this life, because we have so much retrograde energy, especially in, well, actually almost the whole month until Venus comes out. Since Venus is one of the more important planets, Venus and Mercury are inner planets that control us more, that have more effect on us. That's going to make a big difference in the second half. But until then, we're looking a lot at the past. And Isis, she could not, I can't remember if she could visit Osiris, but I don't think so. But she chose to be with, she was with Horus. And Horus is the sun god. So she chose to stay in the light, in the sun. And to me, the message of this is, when you're looking back in all this retrograde energy, don't get lost in the memories. Don't let them bog you down. Go there, look at them from love. You aren't the person who made those choices or did those things. You are the you now in the present moment looking back. So don't become or re-become the person that did those things simply because you're looking at what you did. No, look at it, learn from it, remain the person in this moment. Because if you go back and start becoming who you were then, it's a step backwards. It goes into perhaps guilt, or it just weighs you down. Can you feel it? It's a heavy energy. Instead, go back to get the lessons in a light way, like you're just collecting them, and then move forward with this new knowledge as the new person that you are. Okay, so that's Isis for us. I kind of feel really glad that she showed up. And our second goddess is? Oh, okay. It's Cordelia, and the card says go outside, which I love. I just love. And the reading on the bottom is, you have been indoors too long. Go outside and get some fresh air. Okay, so basically Cordelia is a goddess. She's more of a goddess fairy. She's Celtic, and she is the one who is tied to Beltane, the point between spring and summer. So she's related to both spring and summer. Interesting that she's coming for the part where we have summer really happening. The second half of the month is when we have the summer solstice, the new beginning of summer. And I think she's just here to say, don't miss it. And for those of you that are in the part of the world where it's winter solstice, I apologize. It is a bad habit of mine that I go right to the northern readings. And so maybe she's wanting you to still enjoy. Maybe she's saying, well, still enjoy the flowers, still enjoy nature. But many of us have been locked down for quite a while. So Cordelia's healing, I think, is obvious. It's not something that I need to talk about a whole lot. You can either, well, I won't say either. I'm going to invite you to do both. Get outside, especially in nature. Get barefoot, or if it's colder in your part of the world, then just take your hands and feel nature and just get close and intimate with nature. And then bring some nature indoors if you can, and especially if you can keep it alive, and bring the chi, like a potted plant, or get something from outside that was wild and plant it indoors if you can. So just commune with nature, with that Cordelia energy. And also, when you set your new intentions around your Cancer new intentions and the solar eclipse, think of her, think of Cordelia, because she's really all about expansion. You know, she's the one who's wearing the garland, she's giving away the flowers, she's all about the expansion and possibilities of spring and summer. Winter, fall is death, winter is contraction. Can you feel that? So Cordelia is about expansion. So this is a huge invite into expansion. And even if you are in the southern hemisphere, if you're watching this now, Cordelia still applies for you. So how can you get outside, and how can you also feel her, like she still stands for spring and summer like energy. So how can you bring that into your seasonal switch, right, toward winter? Okay guys, that's it. I thank you so much for joining me for this forecast. I hope that you can make the most out of it, and I'm sending you so much love, and I'll see you on the next video. Blessings.